Hi everybody. Today's practice is going to start with a little story, and it's all about pigeons. So when Lord Shiva met Parvati and fell in love with her, he wanted her to become his wife. But she only agreed to marry him if they could be equal in all things. And she wanted to know the secrets of the universe. Now, Lord Shiva was reluctant to explain those secrets. He'd kept them to himself for a very long time. But eventually he was persuaded. And they crept away to the deepest, darkest cave so that nobody else could overhear what was said. And in the darkness of the cave, Lord Shiva whispered the secrets of the universe and creation to Parvati. What they didn't know, however, was that there was a roost of pigeons in the cave, and the pigeons overheard every single word. So now when you hear pigeons cooing and clucking and chuttering away to each other, that's what they're doing. They're explaining the secrets of the universe. If you like that story, come along down to the mat with me. And even if you didn't, we're going to have a great hip opening practice today. So let's start on our backs with our knees facing towards the ceiling, and we're going to bring one knee in and then the other, a little Apanasana, a little rock from side to side, opening up the back. Take one hand and place it on each knee, left hand to left knee, right to right knee, and start to draw some circles of the knees away from each other. So start as small as you need to, and maybe gradually increase the size of the circles and then take them in the opposite direction. Passively working into those hip joints and preparing them for a little action. Send the right leg down the mat and keep the left knee hugged into the chest. Half Apanasana, half wind relieving pose. Maybe you flex the feet, maybe you circle the foot in one direction, then the other, warming into the ankle. Slide your hand to the outside of the ankle and straighten through the knee. So your knee is bent, the sole of your foot pointing towards the ceiling. Imagine you're pushing the ceiling away and spike the toes of the other foot. So we're finding a reclined low lunge or a half happy baby. Release that and bring the right foot up to the mat. Place the left ankle over the top, and we're finding our half pigeon, our reclined pigeon shape. Place your left hand on your left knee, maybe gently open the hip out a little further. And stay here if this feels enough for you, and just notice where your mind's going. I think often we're tempted at this point to grab hold of the foot that's on the floor and draw everything back towards us. So just try and resist that temptation. Kindness is often the best practice. If you want a little more, hug your right hand behind your right knee and bring your left arm around your left knee, and maybe take a gentle little rock from side to side. So we're creating a little gentle traction into that hip. Come to stillness. Drop both feet to the floor and we'll swap. So this time send the left leg along the mat and draw the right knee in, finding that half Apanasana, half wind relieving pose. Slide your left hand to your left foot or ankle and bring the sole of the foot to the ceiling. Spike the toes of the straight legs backwards. So we're coming into a reclined runner's lunge or a half happy baby. Release that shape. Bring the left knee up, the right ankle over the left thigh, and gently encourage the right knee away. And it's absolutely fine to stay here, guys. Allow your hip to work to its own degree. But if you do want a little more, bring the left hand behind the left knee, the right hand around the right knee, and take a gentle rock from side to side. Keep the back long. Keep the crown of the head drawing towards the front of the room and the sit bone towards the back. So we're keeping our back long and avoiding the temptation to stretch and to strain. Drop both knees to the floor and find your way into your tabletop position. We're going to take a little cat-cow, so drop the belly as you inhale and look up. And then as you exhale, round through the shoulders, pushing away from the earth. Come back to neutral, tuck the toes and send the hip bones back and up, finding your downward dog. As we inhale, we'll float the right leg, finding three-legged dog. Drop the heel to the sit bone and take a little circle in one direction, just as we did on the ground, and then back into the opposite direction. Straighten the leg. Inhale to prepare, and as you exhale, roll forward as if you're coming into plank, but place the knee to the outside of the right hand. Untuck the toes at the back, and we'll find ourselves in a proud pigeon pose. Now, if this feels a little harsh on the knees or the hips, come back to your reclined pigeon. You'll have all the same benefits, but for some people it can feel a little kinder. If you want, you can place a brick or a block. I don't have one to hand under the hip. Give yourself a little bit of support. And maybe you choose to come into my favorite hieroglyph, pigeon meets sphinx, or even to take the journey all the way to the floor. So remembering this is your practice. So come to whichever level feels good for you. And we'll take 5 breaths here. A deep inhale and a deep exhale. Giving those hips a little time to expand, a little time to open. Last 2 breaths. And then tuck the toes. And wherever you are, gently unravel, and however you get there, find your way back to downward dog. Maybe you take a little pedal out, maybe a little organic sway with the hips, whatever feels good. So keeping the knees bent. Inhale this time, float the left foot, drop the left ankle to the sit bone, and draw those circles again. And I think pigeon is one of those shapes that more than any other reminds us that our bodies are not symmetrical. Take those circles in the opposite direction. So just notice if one side feels a little tighter than the other. For me, this is my tight side. Inhale, extend the leg. Exhale, bring the left knee to the outside of the left hand. And find your proud pigeon. There it goes. Headphones, the earphones always go at some point in practice. I think that's going to become my thing. Waiting for that to happen. And remember, you can join your pigeon meets sphinx into your hieroglyph, or take that all the way to the ground. And for me today, this side really doesn't want to go all the way down. So I'm just going to observe that and accept that. And you too, be kind. Remember to draw that navel back to the spine to give your back a little support if you're more upright. And we'll breathe. Deep inhalations, deep exhalations. Feeling into our left hip. Noticing whether our left hip feels a little different from our right. Take one final breath in, a final breath out, then on your next inhale, tuck your toes, find your way back to dog. Pedaling out your dog, loosening through the hips, bend the knees, look forward, hop, step, skip to the front of the mat, just ignore me turning around, and find your Uttanasana, your forward fold. So a generous bend in the knees, draping the upper body over the knees. Maybe you take a little sway, side to side, a little nod, a little shake of the head. And when you're ready, rolling up one vertebrae at a time. We'll inhale to bring our hands all the way up and overhead. Exhale, bring those palms together at heart center. Take a breath in, a long breath out. As we inhale, take your hands up and overhead. And as you exhale, start to sink down. So we're finding our Uttanasana, so our awkward pose or our chair pose. So keep your back in a nice neutral position. I'll just turn around. So we're not sticking our hips out, but nor are we looking for an exaggerated tuck. We're keeping our spine long. Hold here. 3, 2, 1. And then fold all the way forward into your Uttanasana, your forward fold, and roll. One vertebra at a time. Reverse swan dive. Bring those arms up and overhead. Exhale back to heart center. This time we'll float the hands up and sit into our Uttanasana. So feel the weight in the heels. Keep that spine neutral. And you can stay here, or maybe you find your weight in your right leg and bring your left foot over the top. So you're finding almost a little tree pose, but in seated. So we're starting to work our way into standing pigeon. Bring your hands to your hips and stand up nice and straight. Bring the right arm up and over the top. Sorry, left arm up and over the top. Exhale back through to center, unravel. Inhale, both hands up. Exhale, finding yourself in your Uttanasana. This time, hands at heart center. Weight into the right leg, bring the left leg up and over. And you can stay here, or maybe you start to shift that left leg. So you bring the ankle to the top of the thigh and find yourself into your standing pigeon. And we'll hold here. So remember, with any balance, the trick is to find a drushti, a focal point, a few feet in front of you. Focus on that. I'm wobbling because I've lost my drushti. And then maybe if you're ready, release everything. Oops, I'm falling, I'm wobbling. Finding yourself in forward fold with pigeon. Unravel the legs. Drape the upper body over the top. And then roll your way all the way to the top. Exhale, hands to heart center. Take a moment here and breathe. Find your Tadasana. Find your center, find your drushti, your focal point. And then inhale, bring those hands up and overhead. Exhale to heart center and sit back into your Uttanasana. This time, find your weight into your left leg and maybe bring your right leg over the top. Hold here. Think about drawing the navel back to the spine, keeping the back neutral. As you inhale, stand tall, take hold of the right wrist and find a little side bend. Inhale back to center, unravel, come into your Tadasana. Inhale, bring the hands up and overhead. Exhale to sit back down into your Uttanasana. Again, find your way into your left leg, bring your right foot over the top. And stay here if this feels sufficient for you, but if you want to work a little further into the hips, bring the ankle to the top of the thigh. See if you can drop a little lower. Hold. Find your drushti, your focal point. I'm wobbling. And then when you're ready, moving slowly and with grace, perhaps you try to find your forward fold wherever you are. Got the foot to the ground. Lean a little deeper into that Uttanasana. Inhale, rolling all the way up. Back into our upward salute. Bring our palms together, and this time our thumbs to our third eye. Take a deep breath in, a long breath out. and bow to each other in celebration of our practice. Om Shanti. Namaste. Thank you for joining me. If you fancy any more yoga practices, why not subscribe to the channel below, or give me some likes and some comments, or hop over to the Horse Lovers Yoga Club and find some more classes and courses there. See you again soon.